Hello and welcome, Lynx here. We are going to play a visual novel once again. No surprise here maybe as this is the usual thing. But yes, we are sitting to a game from ebi-hime, so a developer that we know, obviously. And this time it's a game called Your Glass Heart in My Hands, which was made for Toxic, Yuri, VN Jam. And I don't know, but I feel like I will say that the creepiest thing, for me at least, is what we see on the main menu, because dead dolls like this creep me out. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's read what the story is about from the little description on each.io page, which obviously is linked in the description, and then we will proceed to play. You are fast asleep. You are drifting through the darkness, a seemingly endless abyss from which there is no escape. There is nothing but the darkness, leaks and fathoms and feet of it. But you were a person once, you know, before you found yourself in the sorry state. You had a name, perhaps you had several names, and thoughts of your own, feelings too. You had friends, a family perhaps, you had a life. You might have had many lives. You are one, yet you are many. Fragmented, your past dances behind your eyelids like shards of glass, sharp to the touch, and yet, will you reach out to touch these broken bits and pieces of your past? Do you dare? Well, I'm here, so I guess I do dare. Start. You are fast asleep. Don't tell me it's what I just read. It's what I just read. You're drifting through darkness, a seemingly endless abyss from which there is no escape. The darkness shrouds you from all sides. It lays on your supine body, okay? It's a little different. Thick and heavy, like a mantle, pressing down upon your eyelids until it threatens to dislodge the eyes which lay behind them. You are lost in deep, dreamless sea, a sailor tossed amongst the towering ocean waves. Also, this music will be kinda good for sleep, I feel like. Lower it? Lower it and... I think it would work. The darkness is more unforgiving, however, than any waves, for it does not undulate. It is there eternally, perpetually, and immovable, unshifting, constant. The darkness is in your ears. Right. It stops up your nose. Right. It would fill your mouth too if you dared to open it. It would choke you like so much dirt poured into the gaping hole of an open grave. Okay. That's maybe not something I wanted to visualize. The darkness drowns you, it buries you, it consumes you. There is nothing but the darkness, leaks and fathoms and feet of it. But you were a person once, you know, before you found yourself in this sorry state. You had a name once. Perhaps you had several names and thoughts of your own. Feelings too. You had friends, a family perhaps. You had a life. You might have had many lives. You are one, yet you are many. Fragmented, your past dances behind your eyelids like shards of glass, sharp to the touch, and yet... will you reach out to touch those broken bits and pieces of your past? Do you dare? Oh... I see. So it's like... I'm curious, is it a story of her, and of her, or is it a story of a fourth character that knew all of them and had some kind of story with each somehow? I don't know, let's start. Do we only get 6 save slots? Come on, I need more. At least 600. I'm a safe merchant. Not gonna lie, I kinda like this one the most, the one in the middle. I have a thing for red eyes, so yeah. And dark hair. And really light skin. Okay, she's up my alley, okay? What can I say? Let's start with... Let's go from the left side. You continue to drift in the darkness. It submerges you like tar, like oil. There's something oddly reassuring about the darkness, something soothing.
Milady.
But you hear a voice calling out to you through the veil of blackness which surrounds you, something which stirs memories deep within you. You recognize that voice? You are sure you know them. For you can't put a name or face to them, not just yet, at least.
Milady. Excuse me, milady.
And this realization is like flickering candle, one which soon turns into a burning beacon. You might not remember who you are, but perhaps this person will. Perhaps they can give you a name, an identity to latch onto, and in so doing they can save you from the darkness.
Milady, it's time, wake up!
You do not. You suddenly realize, like the darkness, very much. It no longer feels as reassuring as it did. It has ceased to be a comforting cradle song, and instead has become something stiflingly oppressive. You fight against it. Your eyes wide, frightened, like a startled pony's, and then... The birds. No, no, no! Okay, those are actually sounding nice. When you are in a city, sadly, you will hear the birds that don't sound nice. And it sucks. Especially when it happens at 5 in the morning. Anywho, the light which rushes forwards to meet you is sharp and spiky. Spiky? And it lacerates your eyes, penetrating them like pins. Your head spins. For a few moments you feel sick. Your whole body aches.
Oh, milady, my poor dear lady, are you still feeling ill?
But you feel a hand upon the small of your back, massaging you through the fabric of your nightgown. I wear... Oh yeah, this is a Yuri game after all. That would be weird to wear a nightgown then. But it's an... yeah, Yuri. It is a broad... Now that I think about it, I need to check something. Are you ready? Thought so. Nice. It is a broad white palm, flat and reassuring, and fills you with warmth. You exhale, trying to gather your bearings. Slowly you breathe in. And just as slowly you breathe out. I didn't need to do that. Yeah, it's actually happening in the game. Nice. For you said it slowly. And that girl breathes like she ran a marathon. Okay, maybe not maybe not so badly, but... You blink, disturbing the gauzy white spots which have begun to drift, jellyfish-like, across your vision. Then you glance about. That is definitely not calm breathing. You felt dazed and disoriented upon your waking, but now you have awoken from your deep, dreamless sleep. Something like familiarity begins to settle upon you. You are sitting in a grand four-poster bed, one with pale blue sheets and pale blue drapes. Your bed is piled high with soft plush pillows, and your favorite bear is sitting beside you, a large, furry creature you call... Percy. Yes, that's right. You remember Percy, and you remember this room too. You remember the cream walls, the landscapes in their gilt frames, your vanity table, with the circular mirror and the little perfume bottles arranged upon the counter, and your favorite wide-brimmed sun hat with the length of satin ribbon tied about it. Whew! You remember who you are, and perhaps more importantly, you remember who you are. You are a young lady of some renown, whose family possesses a considerable fortune. Can I have some of that fortune? I would definitely not complain. Well, of course you are a young lady. There is nothing else you could be, really. Awaking in a fine room like this. You're a lady. Not quite a princess, but definitely not a pauper. And the woman sitting beside you.
Oh. Okay.
She's nice. Okay, she's nice. Huh. I mean, it's the same. I believe this is the same picture used over here. On the save. Where we saved, basically. I didn't get this. She looks so good. Anyway.
Are you alright, milady? Is your head still causing you pain? I'm here now if you need me for anything. And I have brought you breakfast up too. Perhaps that might help.
She's your maid. Now, important question. Do I try to create some weird-ass voice for the protagonist? Her hair is dark, and is tied back in a sensible braid. Dude, we started off with this route, by the way. Or, I don't know. Maybe you literally have to have, you know, to choose the other character to have, like, sort of other route of swords. I sort of use a lot of swords right now. I don't know, sort of happens. But we are starting off, I feel like now, in a very dangerous spot, because this is a very dangerous hairstyle. So, I don't know if I should expect that or have my hopes up that that I probably should expect maybe will not happen. The thing is, I like that hairstyle as well. Anyway, her eyes, meanwhile, are dark. I mean, I wouldn't call them dark. Large and liquid. And lined with long, doll-like lashes. A small smile plays about your maid's face, almost motherly, as she says,
Would you care for a cup of tea?
What a coincidence, I have one, said the narrator. You blink, still a little groggy. You have come to your senses, more or less. What in the world were you dreaming about? You can't quite remember, but you are sure it was disturbing. But you still feel somewhat disoriented. You know your maid as well as you know the back of your hands. Your ashen face, which reflects back at you in your mirror. You've been close for many years, ever since you were children. She has been working here from the tender age of 12. Jesus. I mean, I guess back in the day it was not that weird, right? When she first started as a scullery maid. You are 4 years your maid's junior. So you're 8? And you can recall coming across her in the corridors when you were a little girl, catching her eye in the garden while she was engaged in hanging up the laundry, so she began to giggle. You like the look of your maid. I mean, I'm not surprised. With her brown hair and her bright, easy smiles. And you knew from the first that you wanted her. Oh boy. Or should I say, oh girl. You wanted to make her yours, and so you did. When you were a little older, old enough to require a lady's maid rather than a nurse, you asked your parents if they would let you make your maid officially yours. You know what, on the other hand, this kind of all makes sense. She's from a very well-off family. I mean, so well-off that clearly she has mates and so on. Yeah, I I can see that basically being a thing. Wow. You had never asked your parents for anything before. They had drummed into your head that you had to be a good girl, demure and mealy-mouthed and virtuous. They told you not to want things, not in a deep emotional sense at least. Ladies can be as selfish and avaricious and capricious as they please. They can lust after beautiful dresses. What? Do women actually lust after dresses? I mean, I feel like lust might be kinda strong word about it. What would I know? And beautiful jewels and finely furnished homes, but other people? I'm dreaming of a proper house. That is one thing ladies cannot desire. What do you mean? Ladies cannot be seen to yearn. To yearn is to be weak, and your parents have always been so strong, so self-sure. You fear that your parents would castigate you for wanting the maid, so for wanting to make her yours. But to your surprise, your parents did not scold you for your impetuous request. You thought that your desire would be obvious, stamped across your face, but your parents did not seem to see it that way. They, with their dark and unfeeling eyes, did not see your maid as being so very dissimilar from a beautiful dress or from a beautiful brooch. They thought of her, not as her own person, but as an object, something which could be bartered and traded. Yeah. Welcome to royalty families. They did not imagine that you asked for your maid's exclusive attention because you yearned for her, but because you simply selfishly wanted her, which are two very different things. Right. Your parents couldn't... I totally thought she wanted exactly that. Just, you know, simply wanted her. Not yearn. Your parents could not fathom how much you cared for your maid, how much you care for her still. Now she's your everything. She's not just your lady's maid, for that is her official title, she's your best friend. Just it. Your closest confidant, the one you love more than anybody in the world. Thought so. It would not be an exaggeration to say that you adore her. You love her as intimately as it is possible for a woman to love another woman, perhaps even more intimately than it is thought strictly possible. You might be the lady, she your maid, but sometimes... Sometimes what? Come on, spill the details.
Milady, are you alright?
Sometimes, when you look at her, you wonder whether she's not the one holding all of the cards after all. Maybe she is. Maybe she's... Did she catch your eye on purpose all of those years ago, so that you might pick her out from dress, so that you'd elevate her from her position as a mere scullery maid? Was this all pre-planned? Have you been dancing all of this time in the palm of her hand? There are many things that you wonder, your past distorting like a kaleidoscope, but...
Are you still feverish? Your faces look rather flushed. Perhaps you aren't in a mood for tea right now.
But no, you tell yourself firmly, you are being silly. You are certain that your maid has no ulterior motives, and even if she does... Why does it matter? It doesn't change how much you care for her, and does not change that she remains your only ally. What do you mean? She's the only one in this miserable pile you call a home who smiles at you. She's your dearest friend, and you do not want to make her worry. She has done nothing to deserve it. You smile at your maid and tell her that you had a bad dream. You do not feel like yourself, but a nice cup of tea might help. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
But of course, I've already prepared the tea for you, milady. I think it ought to have cooled down plenty, but just in case...
So far it seems like we might have a mute protagonist. Because technically she didn't say a word. Which is fine. Your maid plucks a delicate teacup from a saucer, which was resting on a tray, then brings it to her lips. That's fancy. That's fancy. Softly she blows up on it, the meniscus of the tea rippling from her warm breath. There is something sensual by the way she blows up on your tea, something which makes your stomach flutter. You're sure it was not hard? But the moment soon pauses. Your maid hands your cup of tea to you, with a light and lilting.
Careful now. It's cold a little, but it's still hot enough. I wouldn't want you scalding yourself.
You thank your maid for her thoughtfulness and bring the teacup to your own lips. You do not need to blow upon the tea within yourself, not when your maid has completed the ritual on your behalf. I feel like I would still do that. Yeah. The tea is not hot in any case. It is slightly warmer than lukewarm, but holding a teacup does not make your fingers tingle. I mean, if you grab by the holder, it will not do anything, yeah. I imagine trying to grab a cup like this might be kinda rough. I don't know. You look at your undulating reflection with the brown tea for a few moments. Mine is too strong, I can't do that. Your lips burst. And then, under your maid's watchful gaze, you begin to sip. Please no sound. You let the taste of your tea unfurl across your tongue just like the petals of a flower. Your tea is somewhat bitter, but correct. But you have heard this is for your own good. Your maid has been buying herbal teas from Dr. Godwin, which are supposed to fortify you, to give you strength. Okay. Dr. Godwin is your physician. You have seen her a few times since you fell ill. Oh, I'm guessing maybe Dr. Godwin was the one on the right side? No, she might be the one in the middle. She had like a doctor's outfit. I think, maybe. Okay, now is not the time to try to find out. You're surprised your parents are willing to put their faith in a lady doctor, given how awfully old-fashioned they are, but Dr. Godwin has a sterling reputation. She does come highly recommended, but not even she has been able to aid you. You like to think that these herbs your maid has been mixing into your tea are helping in some small way for... But even if they aren't, you cannot fault your maid for trying to help you. Your maid has always been your most loyal ally. If you cannot trust her, you cannot trust anybody. You sip at your tea demurely, both your hands pressed above the cup, while your maid smiles at you. Her smile is soft and tender, so much so you could melt from it. Your maid's smile mixes, or at least it seems to, with the sun's light, as it spills in through your windows, and with the warm tea sloshing about inside your cup in such a way that you feel fortified. Sometimes you think that you live on only for quiet, understated moments like these, those spent with you and your maid. There is nobody else who makes you feel like she does. Nobody in the world. She's the only one who makes you happy. And you know that you love her more than you have ever and will ever love anybody else. That's a bold statement. Outside you can hear the birds chirping, the leaves whispering secrets to one another as they shift in the breeze. It is a beautiful morning, and it promises to segue into an even more beautiful day. With that... Would that you could? What? Huh? Would that you could? You would rise from your bed to greet it, standing by your open window as the breeze plays through your hair. Would that you could? You wish to throw these covers off yourself, which lay atop you like a stifling prison, then across your bedroom. You've always been a delicate girl, with a dainty build, yet you should be able to manage walking at a handful of steps. It should be not be... It should be not be... It should not be any great ordeal, and yet...
You poor thing.
Your maid says in a gentle voice, which makes you feel small and insignificant, like some sort of pet.
You still can't move, can you?
What exactly is happening to her? Your mate is right about that. For the last fortnight, you've been assailed by a most curious illness. The illness leaves you feeling weak and lethargic, so much so you struggle simply to sit up in bed. You've always relied upon your mate to aid you, and you have been relying on her more than ever recently, after this illness has more or less incapacitated you. Damn. That's nuts. You find it hard to do much more than breathe, but at least your mate is sympathetic to your plight. She toots, then says,
I know you're not feeling well lately, but it's alright. I'm here for you, milady. And I'm not going to go anywhere, I promise. You can rely on me. It's my job to look after you, and I mean to do it to the last. Until...
the bitter end. That's probably what she meant to say. Is your illness so advanced that she can see the Reaper looming over you, side drone? But she evidently decides this is too grim a topic to discuss, not this early in the morning. Your mate forces a smile instead, then says,
Well, never mind that. I'll be here like I said, so try not to fuss. You've no need to be lonely. Now, shall I help you dress? I know you mightn't be able to move far from your bedroom, but that's no excuse for slovenliness. Let's get you looking presentable. As your maid, it's my job to care for you. Oh,
your maid exclaims, as if this has only just occurred to her.
And then you to brush your hair too. It's so lovely and long, it would be a shame to leave it so tangled. I know what you were dreaming of last night, milady. Were you being stalked through the woods by some sort of monster? But you really were riffing a lot. You racked up your covers and your hair is an awful mess.
She's closer. You let your maid guide you to your wardrobe. Or to be more precise, you lean on your maid as she holds you to your wardrobe. You are not so very weak that you cannot stand on your own 2 feet, but you are weak enough that you cannot stand on your own 2 feet for long before toppling. You find it hard, true, to walk. You can manage to shuffle, dragging your bare heels along your floor, but your mate seems pleased with your pitiful progress nonetheless. It kinda sounds like she's like, I don't know, 80 or older. It's some strange illness.
Very good, milady. You're doing much better than yesterday.
Does your mate really think that? You do not feel any better. If anything, you feel even worse.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. You're definitely not on the mend. I can see it in your face. Your cheeks are starting to get their apples again. And you no longer look so pained. We need only wait a little longer, and I'm sure you'll be back to your usual self once more. Then, you can leave your wretched bedroom, and you might be able to take a turn in the garden once more. Doesn't that sound nice?
Your mind keeps up a steady series of chatter as she strips you of your nightgown and dresses you anew, attiring you in a rich green gown the color of a grass and apples. So there is some red there. Newly attired, your maid then steers you to your vanity, where she might brush out your hair, slowly and methodically removing all of the knots which snarl and snare against the brush's bristles. You sit there demurely, feeling rather like an oversized doll, a bloodless being made of porcelain. Ever since your sickness, your maid has been treating you like something to be cosseted, a beautiful object of peerless value that is at risk of losing its worth with every bump or bruise. She treats you incredibly gently, but part of you wonders whether she's not being too gentle. Is she being too deferential? You feel the gulf in your social status more keenly than ever when she fuses over you like this. When she fastens your buttons and ties your ribbons and runs the brush through your hair. You almost wish that she would not bother so much, that she did not care so much. But if your maid did not care, who else would be left to worry about you? Your parents have not been to see you since you fell ill. They seem not to care 2 pence about you, but your marriage negotiations are continuing unimpeded, as if nothing has occurred. Marriage. Yeah, I guess welcome to royalty once again, huh? I feel like I would break out of a family like that. Your maid tells you as much as she brushes your hair, pausing to tease out a particularly stubborn knot near the right side of your scalp. You feel the bristles of the brush against the top of your ear and you shudder from it. Your maid seems to not to notice as you tremble. She's too entrenched in her tale. She clicks her tongue, then says,
I can hardly believe your parents did not send Lord Worthing home already. He has been here for well over a fortnight, and for what cause? You are sick. I thought your parents might send that odious lord home for at least a brief spell, so that you might recuperate, but I suppose that would be asking for too much. They refuse to give you any peace, you poor thing. While you languish up here in your bedroom, they are still talking of your dowry. Your mother just can't help herself, and neither can Lord Worthing. They might fancy themselves as being elegant and refined, but I see nothing to commend in them myself. They wear their fine suits and fancy dresses, and they spray themselves in lavish perfumes, but all of this artifice cannot hope to disguise what they truly are. They are nothing.
Your maid continues, her grip tightening about the handle of your hairbrush.
More than beasts. Beasts?
You ask, and then you wince. Your mate is digging the brush through her with no small amount of force, and it is starting to hurt. What does she mean by that?
Well, what else am I to call them? They're trying to divide you up, milady, into pieces. They sink their teeth into you, and then they rip and gouge, and they mean to tear you asunder. Your mother is the worst offender. She's been determined to marry you off ever since you were a baby, but your father isn't much better. When they look at you, they don't see their own flesh and blood, a daughter they must protect, whom they have a duty of care towards. Instead, they see you as a bartering piece.
Again, welcome to royalty.
They want to distribute you like an asset, to sell you off to the highest bidder, so that they might increase their own social standings. They don't care about you.
Your maid continues, her voice tightly controlled, perhaps self-consciously so. You can see your maid's face reflected back at you in the dresser, inverted, so it looks subtly wrong, not quite right. Your maid's eyes flash like fire and brimstone while her jaw is tightly set. She's gritting her teeth together so hard you wonder whether the enamel will splinter. It seems worryingly apparent that if she lowers her temper to consume her, she will do herself harm. In that moment, you care not about the pain in your scalp, nor how harshly your mate is dragging the comb through your curls. All you care about is your mate. You love her, and you know that she loves you. But it is because she loves you that her temper flares like this. Always hidden, behind closed doors, so your parents will never see it. Your parents will never know. Must never know how excessive your mate's passions are, how intense her longings. If your parents knew what your mate said about them, they would dismiss her without a second thought. They would throw her onto the street by her ear, heedless of the years of her life she has given to you, heedless of how much she has sacrificed for you. You say that, I think like maybe it would be even worse than being thrown onto the street, to be honest. Again, it's royalty, so they would not care. You know they would not care. Your mate might be too passionate, with feelings which ablaze behind her eyes like all the fires of hell, but your parents are uncomfortably cold by contrast. Behind their eyes you can detect no feeling at all, no emotion save for avarice. You wish your mate would not worry for your sake. You fear that she's making herself ill, that she'll run and drape herself into an early grave. Yet you have I wouldn't say that. I would say not ranting would more likely do that. I mean, it's a good idea to basically let those feelings fly out, sort of. Yet you have the uncomfortable sensation that as she tries to compose herself, that she is right. Your parents really are unfeeling, and so is Lord Worthing. Thinking of him is enough to make you tremble. You wish you were not expected to wed, and if that is non-negotiable, that you were not expected to wed him. You wish for so much, closeted away in your pastel bedchamber, which smells of rose water. But for all of your wishing, there is precious little you can do. The world is large and you are very small. Sometimes you think you have even less value than your maid, for at least she is paid for her services. Not well, of course, but she receives money. Really? Not well? I wonder if that's true. How much a maid for royalty earns still? Let's see. A maid working for the British royal family typically earns a salary ranging from a little over 19,000 to almost 25,000 per year. Per year? That sounds not good. Yo, royal family. What the hell? You have the money. Pay them properly. That's kinda really low. You mean you can expect max like 2,000 per month? That's ridiculous. The average yearly pay for royal household housekeeper in the UK is around 24,862, which is 7% above the national average. That's the average? That's not good. Dude, royal family in England is stingy as hell. I'm so surprised that it's that bad. I would expect better earnings, especially in like actual royal family. Anyhow. What about you, however? You will not get paid when you wed Lord Worthing, not directly at least. Your parents are the ones who will profit from you, just as your maid said, as if they were selling a sow at the market. Is that how your parents see you? Is that how Lord Worthing sees you? Are you really nothing more than an asset to be sold? Oh, if only you were not so young and unworldly. But these wishes are pointless, just like your prayers. You dare not speak of them, not even to your maid, who tells you everything about herself, and so they die. Unspoken, your wishes turn to ashes inside your heart. That cardiac muscle, which seems over the years to have calcified. You wish that everything would not hurt so much. You wish.
Oh, me lady, I apologize for speaking so harshly. I never did mean to upset you.
You wish from time to time that the world would stop turning. You wish that life was not so complicated, and that you could pass your time freely with your maid. She's the only one in the world who understands you, the only person who cares to... Right. You never do speak of your wishes aloud. You have always thought it best not to. Have always worried it would be unladylike. But you are with your maid. It doesn't matter. She understands how we feel, even if you do not express these feelings in words. Sometimes you think that she might understand you better than you understand yourself. She sets the gilt brush down with a tool. Tut. Did she realize that she was inadvertently causing you pain? And then leans in. She opens her arms, unfurling them like a raven might, its dark feathered wings. Then shifting towards you, she pulls you to her, twining her arms about your middle like a shroud. You feel her chest. Nice. Against your back, soft and full. Feel her breath against the nape of your neck. Her breath is warm, yet it still makes you tremble. How curious.
You need to dwell on this horrible affair now,
your maid tells you, her voice soft and soothing.
It is something for you to worry your precious little head over.
Privately, you think that this is indeed something you ought to be worrying about. This directly pertains to you, after all, and to your future. You are the one who will be wedded against your will, not your maid. Unless maybe she will, but, well, not to royalty. You never know, I guess. But her voice is saccharine sweet as it pours inside your ear, almost sickly, like molasses, as she says,
It'll be alright. Don't trouble so, milady. No matter what happens, you won't be alone. I'll never ever let it happen. I'll stay with you. I'll look after you. Come there what may, I'll take good care of you. So don't fret. Just leave everything up to me. It will be fine. I promise.
Your maid leans in a little closer. You feel the fullness of her breasts against your back. Again, nice. Feel the warmth of her body, and then there is the soft brush of her digits. Her fingertips part your hair, which falls down your neck about your shoulders. She presses your curls to one side to better expose your nape. Then she dips her head and presses her lips to your neck in a tender kiss. You hold your maid's words inside your heart as the hours elapse. As the sun in the sky, once so round and full and yellow, slowly begins to sink beneath the horizon. Your maid keeps you company in your bedroom for most of the day, as she often does, and she has for the last fortnight ever since you fell ill. Whenever you find yourself fretting, thinking of your future, you remind yourself of your maid's earlier words. She said there was no need to fret. She told you to leave everything to her. She promised that everything would be alright, and you have no reason to disbelieve her. Your maid has never lied to you before, after all. Why would she begin now? You turn your thoughts away from your parents and from Lord Worthing, and from your impending wedding, and you focus on the simpler things in life. The light, irreverent, frothy things, sweet and silken like the cream in your coffee. You think of how pretty your hair is, now that your maid has styled it so neatly, and you think of how pleasant it is to observe the sun slowly sinking from beyond your window. You think of how you love it when your maid smiles, and how you love it all the more when she laughs. And you think on how she almost certainly let you win that game of whist, though perhaps you oughtn't to comment upon it. She's your maid, after all. It is her job to make you happy. If she lets you win in card games, she's only doing her job. For this does rankle. You cannot help but wonder, as you fan your aces, there is one, and your queens, there is none, unless, no, there is one queen, okay, and your kings, there is one, across your silken sheets, whether your maid would be so content to lose to you were you of similar social status. There is something affected about the way the maid gasps when, for the third time in a row, she finds herself bested, something which rings hollow in the way she widens her eyes. She's putting it on you. You know that well. This is a one-woman play, a performance the maid has perfected for her sake. She knows her role well, and she acts it with finesse, so much so you almost wonder whether you oughtn't to present her with the bouquet of flowers for her efforts. But a part of you wishes that she would not defer to you so. If your maid cares for you as much as she claims, why can't she not be honest with you? If you were both maids, sitting together in the subterranean kitchens, you doubt the maid would be so precious about the way she plays her cards. She would not make such a production, either over each of your victories which you rather fancy are not hard-earned. You know that she's trying to bolster your ego, but you wish she wouldn't. It creates a curious distance between the pair of you, a distance which itches, like a parade of ants across your skin. Enough, you want to tell her. It's enough! You really are my friend. Why don't you act like it? Why can't you let me loose for once? We both know you're better at card games than I am. You're much more cunning. What is the point in all of this deception? I thought that you at least could be honest with me. You long to tell her this and more? But the words, as always, do not come. Huh. Like mercury trapped inside a glass thermometer, your words cannot escape. They have nowhere to go. You swallow them. Instead, you smile at your maid. You wish her better luck next time, as she loses for the third time in a row, for you know that she lost on purpose. She did it to make you happy. Yet her losses only make you feel the distance between you and her so keenly. Dark, ugly thoughts begin to fill your head just like storm clouds. But the moon's rays fill your room with gentle light and it scatters your ungrateful, indignant musings before they have a chance to sour. You should not be so cruel to your mate. You chastise yourself with an admonishing pinch to the inside of your thigh. She is your only ally in this world of wolves, the only one who does not wish to devour you. Without her, you would be all alone. You repeat this to yourself like a mantra as your mate announces the end of your card games. It is late, she says, and it is time to sleep. You must go to bed. There will be ample opportunities for merriment come the morn.
Now, let me prepare you for bed,
Your mate says, her voice playfully sing-song.
Which nightgown would you like to wear tonight, milady? You have so many love pieces in your wardrobe. You're rather spoiled for choice. There's the pale green poplin and the sheer cream silk. For I'm rather fond of the pale pink muslin. It suits you perfectly. Oh!
The maid exclaims, seeing the gowns in your wardrobe.
When I look at all of your lovely clothes, all hung up like this, it does make me feel somewhat jealous. I know it's not a becoming emotion for a maid such as myself, and yet...
The maid's voice trails off, and somewhat abashed she smiles.
Well, never mind. Let us get you dressed, shall we?
She speaks lightly, yet she cannot fully mask the envy which pulsated beneath her words. Her jealousy infests her, just like termites teeming with the walls of a house. Her face practically pulsates from it, seeming to expand, but you do not mind that. You are glad that your mate trusts you enough to show you these ugly emotions of hers. You are glad she trusts you enough to be envious. It is almost enough to make up for all of the games of whist which she willingly loses. Almost, but not quite. Your maid helps you with your nightclothes. You are so weak you can scarce manage your buttons on your own, and then she lays you down. Gently she runs her fingers through your hair, her touch reassuringly cool, against your flushed, feverish brow. She dips her head, and smiling, she skims her lips against your forehead.
It will be all right, milady,
she tells you in a voice so gentle it could make the angels themselves weep.
You'll be all right, I promise.
She soothes you to sleep too, with talks of paradise on earth, of promises that you need never suffer again, so long as you stay by her side. And as your eyelids fall shut, you find yourself believing her. Your indignation over these false games of whist soon scatter like leaves on the trees come the advent of the winter. You begin to doze and to dream, and as sleep captures you, you even begin to wonder why you were so upset to begin with. Why does it matter if your maid lets you win against her during whist? She only does it because she cares. Your maid's caring is apparent upon her face, written in every single furrow upon her brow and inside every single shadow. You see the depths of your maid's affection in person the following morn, when she enters your chamber to wake you. You sip at your cup of tea, as per the custom, for the tea has not been wholly agreeable as of late. There is an unpleasant earthy taste to it, accompanied by a peculiar bitterness which lingers on your tongue long after swallowing. This must be the strange herbs your maid has been buying from this Dr. Godwin. You cannot say you like them very much, but perhaps it is an acquired taste. You force yourself to swallow, in any case, not wanting to displease your maid, even if part of you wonders whether your roles have not become curiously reversed. Surely you, as a young lady, should not care so much about the maid's feelings. You know, if your parents were aware of your feelings, they would castigate you for them. but your parents have never bothered to trouble themselves with you more than is strictly necessary. Perhaps you are being unduly paranoid, worrying about what they might think. When have they ever spared you any consideration? Your condition has been deteriorating by the day, yet still, they do not bother to check on you. You cannot remember the last time you then spoke to your mother. Damn. Is it any wonder then you would turn to your maid for comfort? Sounds reasonable. She's no doctor, but at least she's trying to help you. With her herbal teas and the cool flannels she uses to wipe down your fevered brow. Your maid has always been good to you. But she seems to be in something of a curious mood this morning. What does it mean? She paces back and forth in your bedchamber, looking rather like a caged animal. Her arms are held stiffly at her sides, just like a soldier's, and her fingers are tightly clenched. Clenched with such force her fingernails scrape against the tender insides of her palms. She wanders to and fro, the hem of her dark, severe dress swishing about her ankles, and as she paces, she hisses under her breath. For she's speaking softly, the sound is harsh, the verbal equivalent of a scoring brush. You set your cup of tea on side, back on its patterned saucer once you have drained it. Then you sit up a little straighter in your bed and crane your neck trying to listen. Good idea, posture check. You look at your maid askance, and as you do, you think you catch a fragment of her dark and unruly mutterings. How could she? Your maid hisses, wearing a hole in the carpet with her continue pacing. How could she? How could she? Your maid inhales, there is an uncomfortable pause, and then... That bitch! When I see her again, I'll gouge her eyes out. I'll bash her goddamn head in. The transit evil heartless bitch! You stare at your maid mutely wide-eyed, not knowing what to say, not knowing what to do. You do not know what a bitch is beyond a female dog. Right. Yet you get the distinct feeling that it's not what your maid is talking about. Wait, could it be that this is the actual origin of the word? It is. Interesting. Interesting. Nobody could ever accuse you, after all, of being unintelligent nor unobservant. You could accuse me, that's for sure. You know that something is seriously wrong, but you know not what that something is. Your maid is angrier than you have known anybody to be before. Angrier than you have known anybody could be. You survey her from the safety of your bed, Percy by your side, and you shiver, for your maid is not entirely devoid of awareness. She notices, after a pause, how you shrink away from her, and her expression softens. She turns to you, her expression now newly gentle, for even behind that, you can sense that her displeasure is churning, as she says, "Oh, I do beg your pardon, milady. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable." She'd make you feel uncomfortable, okay? But you tell her not to mind it, that it doesn't matter. I mean, I feel like it kind of does, right? This is what you tell everybody if they make you uneasy. Not that people often ask, they never much seem to care about your opinion, which is why you always say that you don't mind. You know that this way, it would hurt less when you inevitably discover that they do not mind if you mind that they do not care. Right. It is better to feign that you do not mind than to be upfront with your feelings. Not true. Especially when you know that you will be greeted with apathy both ways. This is how you've been raised. It is what you have come to know. But something doesn't quite sit right about all of this. You cannot help but feel that you shouldn't lie to your maid like this. Not about your feelings. You shouldn't need to. But your maid seems reassured by your words nonetheless. She seems not to realize that you are not telling the truth. Or, if she does not upbraid you. Instead, she smiles as she says, "Thank you, milady.
I knew I could count on you to be understanding. Ah, you've always been so good and so gracious. Not like your freaking ugly bitch hug of a mother.
Wow. Your maid's short, sharp words take you by surprise once more, and again you blink. You look at her wide-eyed and ask, your voice trembling, what happened? What did your mother do?
She did nothing. That's the worst thing about all of this. I tried to tell her earlier, when I paused by the parlor, that you did not wish to marry Lord Worthing, that you were having second thoughts about the whole business, but she didn't listen. She ordered me to be silent. She said she didn't want to hear my opinions on the matter. Yes, that's what she called it.
Wow.
She said it was a matter.
Your maid says, spitting vinegar.
As for your future was nothing more trifling than a bill from the haberdashers. She didn't care twopence about what I had to say, and she didn't seem to care about you either. She completely ignored me, as for I've not been with you for years. I always know that your mother is a selfish harina, but to dismiss me so far often, I was upset I saw red. I had half a mind to pick up the poker from the fireplace and...
Whoa. You imagine that your maid means to go on, working herself up into a ladder, but here she pauses. She catches your eye, and perhaps she sees how uneasy her blaster has made you. You cannot read your maid's mind. So you are not sure what entirely she's thinking.
Oh, my poor mistress, I'm so sorry carrying on like this. You need to hear this. It's not like you've done anything wrong.
But you are certain that your maid is thinking of you. That's why she's so upset. She's doing this for your benefit, working herself up into a fury over your own inevitable fate. I mean, she's probably also furious for her own case. And by that I mean for sure. She knows that you do not want to marry, for you've been unable to express much. You're always taught that women are like small children, to be seen and not heard. Wow. But you've never... I mean, that's ridiculous. But the thing is, at least recently, I think voice is given to the wrong ones. Not the ones that make sense. Which is sad. Anyway, but you have never had a voice, and often you feel like you might as well not have a visage at all. Nobody seems to care overly much about you. Not your parents, and not Lord Worthing, but your maid does. She's here at least, where all others have failed you, and she cares. You don't even need to tell her how you feel, because she seems to divine your mood regardless. She can tell what waves up on your mind, and she now takes steps to rectify it. She sits up on your bed, the mattress sinking beneath her weight. Then she reaches to take your hands, squeezing them gently so you sigh.
Ah.
She smiles then says,
Well, it's alright. I'll try to fix things for you. I'll sort it out all out, milady, just as I've always done. I was born to serve you, milady, and I'll see to it that no fool man will ever be able to bother you again. I promise.
Your maid leans in and brushes a few strands of your fair hair to one side. Then, very gently, she kisses your forehead, skimming her lips against your feathery skin so you shiver. She draws back, her eyes full and dark, heavy with some intense emotion that you can't quite place. But then she glances away, and the spell is broken. No longer do you try to perceive what she's saying. It no longer signifies. She smiles, then says,
Now, let us speak of lighter things. You still look a bit peaky, so perhaps we can go outside. But would you like to play whist? I'm going to do my best today, I swear. I won't let you beat me again.
No, that is a rather funny thing for your maid to say. You know that she could best you in a whist easily if she so desired. Okay, you know what? I need to check, because I don't know what this game is. That didn't explain a lot. Game of whist. Classic trick-taking card game for 4 players. Huh? Typically played in partnerships. Players aim to win tricks by By playing the highest card of the suitlet or by playing a trump card.
Huh?
I'll be honest, I understood nothing from that explanation. She only lets you win because she thinks this is what you want, because she feels sorry for you. Sitting in your room day after day with nothing else to occupy yourself. Shots fired at gamers. She lets you win as an act of mercy, just as one might put a dying dog out of its misery. She lets you win in the hopes it will sweeten your lot in life. A spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. But you are not an idiot. Even if you are meek and mild-mannered, and you know that your mate is lying during your games of whist, your victories have all been built on falsehoods. You wish that you could trust your mate, and indeed you trust her more than anybody else you know. But that is not saying much really when you know how precious few people. Your world is hopelessly small. Well, it's not just you, girl. Same here. It is just you and your parents and your mate. I don't have a mate, man. And little Warfing. Glad that don't have that, for he hardly features. You don't have any friends. Wild Dracus Elizabeth doesn't count.
Who?
Who's that? Is that one of the other characters? I guess we'll find out eventually. You do not have any allies. You only have your mate. I mean, nothing to complain about. To be fair, having one person that is super close to you, that's enough. If you cannot trust her, there is nobody you can turn on to. And this fault makes you shudder. Your heart clenches inside your breast, as though it has been caught in a cage of thorns. You wish you had not thought of that, but now it has occurred to you. You cannot unthink it. You try not to dwell upon your own hopelessness. But you do wonder from time to time whether you rely upon your mate much more than she relies upon you. I don't know. You are drifting lost amidst the sweet oblivion of sleep. Your game of whist with your mate proceeded as it always does, with your overwhelming, a little too obvious victory which left you feeling unsatisfied as always. You passed your idle hours as best you could, either talking to your mate or flipping through the pages of a book. Yet you could not forget your mate's surprise when she let you win at whist once again. You know she does it for her sake, but you wish she would not bother. Her exclamations of surprise all ring hollow. They do not convince you, and you begin to fear, as the day escapes you, that her smile will begin to seem similarly unconvincing. What will you do if your mate does not truly love you? This thought plagues you throughout the day, and long into the night, so much so you welcome the inevitable oblivion of sleep. Your mate helps you to your nightgown, pale pink this time, like the skin of a ripened peach, and she brushes out your hair as you sit before your vanity. 100 strokes delivered in a precise, pristine manner. She prepares you for the bed, as she does every night, with the stringent attention of an Egyptian embalmer, as if she means to prepare you for the afterlife. You lie in your bed at your maid's behest, pulling your sheets about you, cool and crisp and white and pure. You snuggle against Percy, whose fur is a little matted from old age, who is now missing one eye. You love your nutty old teddy bear, of course, no matter how old he might be, no matter how threadbare. He has seen you through many dark, stormy nights, when the thunder cracked outdoors like dropped dishes and you feared you would die. He has always been your steadfast, stalwart companion. But you fancy that there is something of the grave about your poor dear Teddy. He feels like a funeral gift, a token which will come with you to the afterlife. You cannot shake the feeling that this may well be the last night of unbroken slumber that you have in quite some time, that your world will fast alter before your very eyes. But truly you are being paranoid. Your roommate might have been upset earlier, yes, but she's often upset. There is nothing to suggest that today's upset was any greater than the upsets of the past, nothing to suggest that anything is amiss. You are overthinking things. You always do that. You worry too much, and you've been worrying more than usual lately because you have been unwell. Your head feels too heavy, as though it has been eaten away by termites. It feels like a hole has been bored into your skull. It aches, and so you sleep. You surrender yourself to dreams, where nothing can hurt you, where nothing can go wrong. You sleep, and you sleep, and you sleep. And you do not wake up. But you eventually wake up. I mean, surely we can manage that. It is inevitable that you would, for nobody can sleep forever. However much you might wish for it, however much you might will it. Your eyelids flutter open inevitably, inexorably. You expect upon waking that you will need to peer through the darkness, swimming through sheets of it, pressing down upon you like fathoms upon fathoms of salty seawater. But to your surprise, you wake as you always have. It is light outside, and the sun streams in through your curtains. The light ruffles your pillow and your cheek, gently warming you in an act of divine benediction. The sunlight is soft and soothing. You lean into it, as a child might seek out their mother's touch. But there is something strange about your bedroom. A cursory glance, however, reveals that your room looks as it always has. The sheets pale blue, your favorite landscapes lining the walls in their ornate frames. Your little vials of perfume are still arranged upon your vanity, and so is your favorite sun hat. Nothing seems out of place, and yet... Oh, I could hear that. Maybe we could have that a little louder. Faintly, you can hear something. A whistle of the wind, perhaps, or no. Is that a scream? You sit upright in your bed, your slender body trembling, your eyes impossibly wide. You glance about, turning your head this way and that, not too sharply, for else your stomach will turn. You feel sick. You can smell a peculiar aroma. Iron? Or maybe it would be more correct to call it a stench. Oh, so not iron. You do not yet know it in your innocent ignorance, but girls who have spent their lives working on farms or in fancy kitchens would be able to name that smell in an instant. It is the stench of a slaughterhouse. Some great act of violence has been perpetuated downstairs beneath your very feet. But you are a well-bred young lady, and you do not know what blood is supposed to smell like. How do you not know? I mean, you can smell blood, you know, get a little cut or whatever. That's crazy. Considering her bad health state, I would expect, you know, she would at least know that. Anyway, you know blood only when your monthlies arrive. Oof. I feel bad for the ladies to have to go through that. And that blood, dead blood, is not the same as this blood, freshly spilled all over the Turkish carpets. Nah. Your mind does not know the smell, but your body reacts to it all the same. You wince, winding your arms around your middle. It is a warm, sunny morning, but you find yourself shaking regardless. What is going on? You sit there in your bed for what feels a small eternity. waiting, straining your ears to detect the smallest of sounds, no matter how far away. Until eventually it comes to you, the repetitive tapping of approaching footsteps. There is somebody coming down the hallway, somebody standing by your door. You see the hand twist, hear the lock click? You breathe, your breath catches in your throat. You turn your head and then... Damn.
Milady. Ah, it's so good to see you again. Looking at your pretty face makes me feel better. I don't think there can be any more effective bulb for my nerves. Not in all of the world.
She's standing there, just as you expected her to be, just as you were hoping she would be. Your mind... Your maid has arrived for you, as she does every morning. She's wearing her usual attire, the black gown and the white apron. In one hand, she's holding a tray upon which is a laden teapot and a teacup and a couple of scones. Again, as she does every morning. Your maid has awoken you every morning for almost a decade. This is how it should be. It is how things always have been between you, and how you have always imagined they will be in the future, from now, or so you like to imagine, until the end of the world. This is what you want. But there is something horribly wrong with your maid. Her white apron isn't as spotless as it usually is. It is spattered instead in gobbets of bright red, and so are her hands. So are her cheeks. I mean, one of them. You suck in a breath upon seeing her. What little color you have voids your face, and your maid seeing this winces. She approaches your bedside. You cannot help but shrink away from her, and says,
It's alright, milady. I know my current appearance might be alarming, but you don't need to worry about me. None of the blood is mine.
So it is blood. You thought as much. You might not recognize its scent, not from a distance, but you are not so very on the other hand. Okay, now that I think about it. How much blood must there be downstairs if she was able to smell that in her bedroom, which I assume is on her like first floor then? Huh. To that I do not have the answer. Again, me smelling blood, like, I don't know, directly from my own cut of sorts, right? Cut myself with paper. Oh boy. Oh, iron. Anyway. You might not recognize its scent, not from a distance, but you are not so very sheltered that you do not know what blood looks like. It streaks across your maid's cheek like Celtic war paint of old, as if she's Boudica, come to drive the Romans out of Britain. Her hands, meanwhile, are slick and wet with this stuff, such a deep rich red it looks as though she's wearing gloves. Bright red smears the delicate tea tray in her hands. It mixes with the scent of your tea, so your stomach churns. This shouldn't be happening, but it does. Shh, shh. Your maid says as if she's soothing a baby, for you haven't said anything yet.
It's alright, milady. Everything will be fine. You've endured a lot, I know, but you don't need to worry about that now. I fixed it all for you. I fixed everything. Everything will be alright. It's all fine.
Your maid repeats these pretty little phrases like a broken automaton, her mouth snapping open and closed, as she sets your tray on your bedside table, sets it down with a clink just like always. She's acting as she always does in the mornings, performing a pantomime of your shared routine, but there is a stiffness to her shoulders and awkwardness in the way that she moves. She doesn't sound even remotely convincing. You look at her with anxious eyes, feeling like a small rabbit, one which has been cornered by a hungry fox. You swallow, your throat shifting. Then, very quietly, you ask her what happened. What did she do?
It is unfortunate,
Your Maid says after a pregnant pause, which suggests it really is anything but.
but your mother refused to listen to me. She was being rather recalcitrant, actually. I told her once again that you no interest in Lord Worthing, yet she ignored my pleas on your behalf. She was being quite cold, actually. Positively frigid. Why talking to her was just like trying to argue with a glacier. That's how receptive she was. She was aloof, so aloof. I knew my words could never reach her. I'm not sure why I bothered, really. I knew from the beginning that was all useless. But still, I wanted to believe. I tried to tell her how you felt, but it was all in vain.
Okay.
I tried my best.
Here her maid's voice trails off. She inhales sharply, her pupils seeming to shrink inside her head. 2 pinpricks of color drifting in a sea of milky white. Her fingers curl at her chest, scrubbing as if she means to dig into her own skin, to tear out her own beating heart. She winces and then,
But what good is trying if it doesn't yield results? I knew it was a pointless endeavor from the beginning. Who would ever listen to a maid like me? I dubbed the Lord and Lady know me from Eve. I've been working my fingers to the bone from them for years, ever since I was a child, ever since my 12th birthday. And for what? I might be your lady's maid, but the lords and ladies of this world, they can't distinguish me from the urchins who work in the kitchens. I'm nothing to them. I'm less than nothing to them. They did not care what I had to say, seemed offended, in fact, that I dared to say anything to them at all. They wouldn't listen to me. So, I had to make them listen. I had no other choice.
you look at your maid mutely for a few moments, watch her rock back and forth, her arms twined about her middle as if for protection. But what does she have to protect herself from? Guilt, perhaps? I don't know. Surely she has taken care of any potential threats already. Did she? If anything, your parents are the ones who ought to have protected themselves from her. She might be a maid, but she's no mermaid. Her cheeks and fingers are not stained with cold from the scullery, or ashes from the fireplaces, but with something far more vivid, much more viscous. You know what this is, of course. You can smell it in the air. Rich and thick. So intense your nostrils twitch from it. You know what your maid has done, but stupidly, foolishly you still ask her what she did. How did she make your parents listen to her?
I made them listen.
Your maid says, her voice scattershot, a little distracted.
The only way I knew how. The only way animals can be made to listen. How did you told you, milady, that your parents are not half so genteel as they like to imagine themselves? Thought they were fine clothes. And they have all of these airs and graces. They're nothing more than beasts. They are foul, filthy, unrepentant animals.
Your maid spits, her eyes narrowed with hatred, her words dripping with vitriol.
And everybody knows that you can't reason with beasts. It isn't possible. They don't understand words. So I had to use violence instead. I'm not proud of it.
Your maid continues, seeing the way you tense.
But some sacrifices have to be made. I did it for your sake, you know.
Your maid continues, her voice soft and gentle but deceptively so. I did it for your sake, you know. That's the line that kinda tries to shift your her guilt onto you for. That's ridiculous. In the past, your maid's caring tones used to reassure you. Now, however, they leave you feeling cold, uncomfortably chilled to the very marrow of your bones. I did it for your sake, your maid said, as for this was something you had asked for, as for this was something that you wanted. I did it for your sake, she said, her face mottled with bloody freckles, her once white apron stained with gore. I did it for your sake, she undoubtedly told herself, as she thrust the blade of a knife forth. If indeed she did use a knife, and she rent skin from bone, slicing flesh up like raw meat. She killed people. She killed your parents. She killed Lord Worthing too, for you cannot help but think he at least had it coming, and she doesn't look even remotely sorry? She doesn't even look shaken. Does she not care about what she has done? Or does she simply care about you more? You find yourself shivering, despite the sheets which are draped about you. With uneasy eyes, you examine your maid, who seems to misunderstand your unease. She takes a seat up on the side of your bed. You try not to wince as she smears blood over your sheets, then cups your cheeks with both hands. She looks into your eyes. Her pupils dilating. They no longer look like pinpricks, as she says,
Are you alright, milady? You're trembling so much. You aren't cold, are you?
Cold? You look at your maid mutely, momentarily dumbfounded. Does she truly believe that you tremble from the cold? How could that be, when you are still swaddled beneath your sheets? It is a warm, sunny day, and the birds are chirping outside upon the boughs, the leaves green and verdant beneath the sunshine. The summer is coming! I mean, more like it's coming to an end here now. The weather is fair, and there is no need for you to shake so. The sunlight which graces your exposed shoulders is gentle, like the embrace of a lover. The maid's touch, meanwhile, makes your stomach churn. Her fingers are slick and sticky with blood. There is so much of it, it has begun to turn black. The blood, not her blood, as she was quick to reassure you, has coagulated on her fingers, so it feels almost thick, sticky, like tar, or like treacle. The blood, your parents' blood, stains your bedsheets. It stains your cheeks. The smell of it is overpowering, rich and coppery, like old pennies, and it makes your stomach twist. You stare at your mate, your stomach twisting into knots. You wish that you could blink, and all of this would disappear, that her hands would be wiped clean from blood, and all would be well. But you know things can never be well again. She has already killed 3 people without flinching, perhaps more. Who is to say what she might do next? You are always so close, you and your mate, and yet, the longer you stare at her, the more you find you no longer know her. You knew she had her passions, of course. Some of the things she said about your parents were decidedly unchristian. But never do you think she would go this far. Never do you think she had such a violence within her, coiled within her like the dark exterior of a slumbering snake. You did not think. But you have never thought much, have you? As a cosseted, well-cared-for young lady, you never had to. You were not content exactly, but you allowed others to make all of your decisions for you. That is how you were raised. You thought it was right. You thought it correct that your parents were the ones to map out your future, but they had the final say on your future happiness and unhappiness both. You never thought about rebelling. The only time you ever asked for anything of your own accord is when you inquired so shyly whether your maid might become your personal servant. That is the only time you've ever spoken for yourself, so of course other people will try to speak for you. They will put words in your mouth, and then they will carry out deeds on your supposed behalf that you never asked for. Violent, visceral deeds which leave you feeling faint. If your parents saw it fit to wed you to Lord Worthing, then it is only natural your maid would see it fit to hold this. She has not done anything that your parents have not done for you, to you, already. Like them, she has taken your future into her own hands. She's doing what she thinks is the best for your supposed benefit, but why did she never ask? You would expect such a callousness from your parents, who never seemed to care about you, but your maid? You thought that you could trust her? You loved her, but she didn't love you in turn, not the way you wanted to be loved. She took your love, then trampled on it. She acted without you knowing, and now she claims she did it for your sake. How could she? You continue to stare at your maid, frozen in place like a sculpture, as your maid examines you. She holds your cheeks between her palms, her red palms stained with gore, and exhales. She frowns, then says,
Oh, Justine, my dear darling lady, why are you looking at me like that? As for you don't know me, why are you trembling so? You've no need to fear me. I never meant to hurt you. I was trying to help you. I did all for you. Just like the tea. That was all for you too. It has always been for you.
The tea? What is she talking about? What other secrets has your maid been hiding from you? For you are sure not that she has been keeping secrets. Nobody can murder 3 people in cold blood, but was it only 3, without being capable of subterfuge to the highest degree? What other lies has she been feeding you? Sickly sweet like macarons. You stare at your maid, while your maid stares back at you, her eyes bore into yours, while her lips slowly purse. Her voice, when next she speaks, is soft and gentle. She speaks to you as a mother might recite a child's bedtime story, her cadence soft and gentle, disturbingly so, given she's still covered in blood from tip to toe.
Yes, the tea,
she says, for you've already begun to grasp its significance, are now beginning to wonder whether you want to know what she has been doing.
It was in the tea all along. I put it in the tea, but I had no choice.
There it is again, that well-worn excuse which can only get her so far. I had no choice. Perhaps such an excuse might work if she were trying to explain throwing away a pair of old stockings, so holy they could no longer be darned, but to explain a murder? Several murders? It doesn't quite ring through.
Your parents said you were to wed Lord Worthing, but I knew you had no interest in the man. You complained about him enough? No, that isn't quite true. You do not complain to you, Justine. You are too virtuous to complain, not like me, and far too well bred. Your parents told you that women oughtn't to decry their lots in life. They told you to be obedient, and you took this lesson to heart. You never complained, but I knew what was in your heart. I knew you did not want to marry him. Why would you? An officious, pompous boy like that. I certainly had no fondness to spare for that awful man, with his little moustache and his inflated sense of superiority, so I devised a plan. It was quite the ingenious plan, really, if you don't mind me boasting.
No, you do not mind her boasting. Your maid has committed sins far, far greater than vanity this morning.
Thank you, I'm glad you understand,
your maid says, with a small smile.
Now you have probably gathered what I did already. You've always been such a smart girl. But since I'm here and I'm covered in blood, I might as well tell you. For the last fortnight, I've been mixing hemlock into your tea.
Hemlock? Is that not
toxic?
Your maid says with a small smile. She nods.
Yes, indeed. Good job, dear Justine. I knew you would understand. You've always been so very clever. I dug the hemlock in the dark in the woods by the garden. I've been mixing it into your tea ever since. Not enough to kill you, of course, but enough to incapacitate you, certainly. I had thought, if you fell ill, not deathly ill, but ill enough that your parents would take some degree of pity on you. I thought their fond feelings for their only daughter would trump their desire to make an alliance with Lord Worthing, and they would call the wedding off. I hoped that they would love you more than they love the allure of gold. But I was wrong. I put too much faith in your parents. The beasts! The bastards! But they are, and your sickness didn't compel them to call off the wedding. If anything, they seemed inclined to speed up the preparations, for fear you might pass away before your Lord Worthing had a chance to put a ring upon your lovely little finger. They were determined to wed you regardless of the cost, even if the stress as the physician the dust of your upcoming nuptials was eating away at you. Dr. Godwin herself said the wedding might be the cause of your mysterious malady. If it did not sway your parents, I feared that nothing could. They were too callous to care for you, my dear Justine. They had no fond feelings for you, even when you were horribly sick.
Damn. Your maid fingers, which once were cupping your cheeks so gently, now tighten. You feel her nails scraping against your skin. Feel cold, hard keratin beneath all the blood, and you wince.
So I killed them. I killed them using a cleaver, which I liberated from the kitchen.
And so, that is the murder weapon, is it? Actually, cleaver, not clever. You had wondered.
I cut your fine, fancy father's throat. I cut it so deeply, a jet of blood spurted from it in a crimson spray. It caught me here and there, and here too. Your maid says,
Now gesturing towards herself.
For such a fastidious man, he made an awful mess. It was quite unpleasant, really, but it was easy work. My cleaver went inside his throat so easily. He offered no resistance at all. It was just like slaughtering a lamb. I have done that often enough on my parents' farm.
Okay.
He crumpled to the ground in seconds after I took the cleaver out, and that is when I made a start on your mother. Her I disemboweled like the sow that she is. Her intestines spilled out of her stomach in a warm rush. I wish you could have seen it, Justine. I'm certain you would have found it satisfying.
What's she for?
There was more blood, but I was able to avoid the worst of the splatter this time. I learned, you see, and I adapted. I might be Maid, but I'm no fool. I pulled out her intestines like a garland.
Oh boy.
They splattered all over the floor. They were pinkish and they seemed to pulsate in the lights of the drawing room. If I had wanted, I could have worn them like a stole or hanged them up like a wreath.
Okay, spare me the details, man.
But I didn't do that, of course. I'm not twisted.
Sure.
Not deranged. Yeah! I wanted only to teach her a lesson.
A lesson you think grimly your mother would have been bound to forget. Your grasp of human biology is poor. It is not a subject you were ever schooled in. Your parents thought it too vulgar for a young lady. But you know that no human can survive with their intestines pulled out. Not for too long, at least. Oh, your poor mother. You were never very close to her. In fact, you might have been afraid of her, but still, you find yourself imagining her final moments. You imagine your maid descending upon her, the soles of her boots heavy on the floor, and you wince. For all of your mother's faults, you don't think she deserves such a grisly ending. Or did she? You can imagine that anybody would. I don't know, I mean... Your mother didn't see you as daughter, but, you know... But like a thing, really. That she could use to get more money, so... Maybe she did deserve. It's maybe not my... Maybe I'm not in a position to decide that, basically. So yeah.
Of course, I dispatched the of Lord Worthing too.
Your maid continues, her voice low and hurried, almost feverish.
I'd rather not dwell on what I did to him. It's just... isn't exactly ladylike.
Let me maybe guess. Did you cut off his... you know... Because pulling your mother's intestines out her abdomen is much more appropriate topic on conversation, you're sure.
But needless to say, he won't be bothering you anytime anymore either. None of them will. Not your parents, nor Lord Worthing, nor any of the silly servants who tried to stop me. I dispatched of them all.
Gee, she's like a one-woman army.
They are all dead and gone now, my dear Justine. Nobody can make you marry if you do not wish to. And nobody can harm you. I did this all for you, my mistress, my lady, my one true love. You were once caged away like a little bird, but now you are free. Is that not wonderful? Could you laugh out loud for joy? Don't you feel thankful?
Your maid stares at you, her eyes wide and dark and awful like two bottomless pits. Two vast, staring voids. You can tell that there is something deeply wrong with your maid. As for the reddish-brown blood dabbed on her front did not make that immediately obvious. Once you thought you could trust her, now you fear you would be a fool if you continued to do so. How can you trust somebody who not only lets herself loose in whist, but who had... what a comparison, by the way. But who has killed your parents? You do not care overly much about Lord Worthing, and who has been steadily poisoning you. One of those crimes would be bad enough, but all three? That really is unforgivable. You wonder whether you should tell your maid as much. Funny enough, you do not feel at all thankful about her intervention, but you are not afforded the choice. Oh boy. You open your mouth but no words come out. Instead you find yourself coughing. A dry, hacking cough, so loud it takes you by surprise. You press a hand to your mouth, your eyes squeeze shut from the sheer shock of it. You feel like a weak, feeble, fragile thing as you cough over and over. Your whole body quakes, you feel horribly bony as you hug dryly, chest heaving. Even before she will be coughing blood. You've been coughing a lot lately, ever since you felt sick. Ever since your maid made you sicken. But never has it hurt so much as it does now. It feels as for your throat is being scoured by the steel wool. And there is an unpleasant taste bubbling on your tongue. Oh boy. Is that...
Oh, milady!
Your maid exclaims, agonized on your behalf as you start to cough.
Are you right? It sounds as though you are in pain. Here, take this. Please feel free to make use of it. Like everything else I own, it is all yours.
Your maid hands you a kerchief. Kerchief? Handkerchief. As she speaks, a neat little square of fabric which was folded up and stashed away inside her skirt pocket. For your maid's clothes are spattered with gore, you know that the handkerchief is quite clean, almost perversely so. It seems strange, this little square of fabric should have emerged from your maid's multiple murders unscathed. But does not remain for long. You press the kerchief against your mouth gratefully. Your maid might have murdered your parents, but she's doing you a kindness, allowing you to preserve your dignity. You cough against it over and over, while your maid rubs your trembling back, muttering soothing remarks as she does. Eventually the coughing fit subsides. You throw the kerchief away feeling lightheaded, and the moment you do, you gasp! The kerchief was once ivory, but no longer. It too has been stained bright red. A vivid flower is beginning to blossom upon it, even redder than the roses which grow in the garden outdoors. Naturally, it is blood. Naturally, it is your blood. You have coughed up plague before, but never blood. You are accustomed to your monthlies, but never before has your blood bubbled from your mouth like this. You stare at the kerchief shocked into silence. Your fingers curl about it. They curl so tightly your knuckles crack, while your maid sighs.
Oh dear,
she says, sounding so softly, sweetly, sympathetic almost, but not quite. forget what she has done.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I suppose that will be the tea taking effect. I slipped a little more hemlock into it yesterday than usual.
Why would you do that?
I thought it prudent after I had that altercation with your mother. I'd already discerned that she would not listen to reason yesterday morning when I tried to dissuade her from wedding you to the dwarfing. I saw your future before my eyes, a future where you would suffer, kept under the thumb of that odious man. So I sought to liberate you using whatever means necessary. Naturally, I planned to kill your parents.
Naturally, she says, as for it is, well, the most natural thing in the world. How funny. You don't think that mass murder is the natural answer one would hit upon. But then again, you are no great thinker. You are no scientist and neither are you a scholar. You are just a lady. Who are you to say what is natural?
But I wanted some insurance, in case my plan was unsuccessful. I thought I would poison you more thoroughly than before, so that you would at least die, even if your parents did not.
Oh boy. Or should I say, oh girl.
This way I could ensure that you would never have to marry that awful Lord Worthing. He'll never be able to walk you down the aisle now, not if you are a corpse. For he'll have a hard time trying to walk anywhere at the moment, with his head split open like a pomegranate. He was easier to best than I imagined. I slaughtered him so easily, even though he took up a poker.
Oh, okay. From the chimney or whatever.
He tried to defend himself, but he knew not what to do with it. He jabbed at me a few times, rather ineffectually. 2, as if he were fencing.
Speaking of fencing, ZZZ added a fencer, right? I don't know if I will get her for... That's the problem. Anyway.
He probably did fence in that university of his or whatever.
Your maid continues, her upper lip curled with obvious derision.
He fancied himself an expert with a rapier, but he had no bloodlust in him. He was only showing off. And to a room full of corpses too. Well, I soon disarmed him. Then I all but decapitated him. He will not be able to wed you.
Okay, so... what was that she had? I forgot the name. Yeah, but the weapon she had against a poker, and the guy would only basically use it like a rapier. I imagine that would not be that challenging to like avoid. To block, sure, but to avoid, I don't think so. And then it's just a question of her landing a hit. Yeah, it sounds like an easy win.
But I had to be certain.
Your maid continues, taking her cheeks between her fingers once more.
I had to know that he would never be able to marry you, even if I was unable to best him. It was a foolish worry of mine, as now I can see. But I was doing it for your sake, Justine.
Your maid entreats, her fingers sticky against your skin.
All of this I've done for you. I meant to save you from your fate however I could, even if I had to kill you.
Then, is it inevitable that you will?
Die?
Your maid finishes for you. There's a small pause and then...
Yes, I should think so. You are coughing a blood dirty thing. You have not long left for this world, but don't worry, I love you. I love you, so I'll not leave you. I cannot live without you.
Your maid says, as for this ought to make you feel better, smearing your cheeks as she speaks with obscene red makeup. You realize, as she holds you, that your maid has an irritating habit of telling you not to worry, as if you're an idiot child with no brain in your head. She thinks you a fool, but perhaps she's correct. She only resorted to such a drastic measure because you refused to do anything about your own plight. If only you had spoken up against your marriage, much to Lord Worthing, perhaps this never would have happened. Your parents have always been cold and uncaring, but they might have been more inclined to listen to you than a mermaid. Perhaps you could have avoided this if only you had been a little bit braver. But it is too late to worry about such things now. You are in so much pain at this point that death itself might be a mercy.
There is nobody I love more than you.
Your maid continues, her voice soft now but frantic, her every syllable threatening to singe you like the flame of a candle.
I can't live in a world without you, my dear Justine. I don't even want to imagine it. It would hurt far too much. Even more than a knife in the ribs.
Or a cleaver, that was the weapon.
Or a cleaver through
the throat.
So let us both die together.
Your maid announces, her voice feverish, her cheeks faintly pink.
I think that would be wonderfully romantic, do you not agree, milady? Why? We would be just like Romeo and Juliet.
Literally one of the most overrated stories ever. You are not too sure about that. You never much liked Romeo and Juliet. Thank you. I agree with you. For it is touted as a romance you... No, if it is, it's terrible. You think it awfully macabre, and you fail to see why either Romeo or Juliet had to die. True. It is all horribly contrived, nothing more than a series of misunderstandings. In the grim, unforgiving world you live in, you sometimes think it would be the braver ending, to allow both Romeo and Juliet some happiness. You've always thought death to be an unsatisfying ending to any story. It is final, and leaves no room for confusion, no room for further conversation. Death is the absence of all meaning. It comes for all of us in the end, yes, but it strips us all of our complexities, of our idiosyncrasies, of our hypocrisies. In death we are all the same. In death we are all equal, which means that in death we are all equally worthless. Technically true. You wish to tell your maid that you see nothing romantic in a joint suicide, that if she knew you as well as she claims she would know that, but you cannot get out of the words. You are coughing too much. More blood, red bile escapes from your lips. Your spittle is starting to turn pink and you heave. You feel as though you will be sick, but you are not alone in your suffering. Your maid looks you somberly, her eyes half lidded. She seems sad at least at what she was wrought, but she is not particularly apologetic. She seems to regard your death as an inevitability, like the slow and steady sinking of a ship.
I know, dear one. I know it hurts, but I will be joining you soon. Please wait for me, lady. Give me a few more moments. Together we'll die as one. Then nobody will be able to separate us.
Your maid brings the delicate willow pattern teacup to her lips. A string of steam exudes from the surface of the tea, which is darker than you have ever seen it. It looks almost black. It is a good thing your maid did not ask you to sip from this cursed cup, for you know you would have balked at it. Your maid tried to hide the hemlock in your tea, so that you would sip it obediently, like a good girl. Technically she didn't try, she did that. Like a good girl, but she has been far more heavy-handed with her own refreshment. The tea is more toxic than tea. It looks worryingly black, like the extremities of a corpse, like ashes strewn in a fireplace. The maid inhales. Then she drinks. You watch as she downs the contents of her teacup. Watch as her throat convulses, and she sets the cup aside upon its saucer. Your maid sways, her eyes widen, her pupils dilating until they seem to consume her whites entirely. Damn. She lurches forwards and you wonder for a moment whether she will expire on the spot, but no. Once more, her sleek red palms find your cheeks. She holds you a little more tightly this time, a little more desperately. And she crushes her lips to yours in a kiss. You can taste the poison on her lips, can taste it on her tongue. You gasp against the kiss, hard and harsh and entirely unwanted, and your maid uses this to her advantage. She slides her tongue inside your mouth, her tongue which tastes of decay and disease. She drank such a highly concentrated dosage of poison, you are surprised it did not turn her tongue black, but it did not start to crumble at the root. Her tongue tastes oddly fleshy, however, in your mouth. It has not turned to ashes, for you fear you soon will meet such a sorry fate. Ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. On and on, your maid kisses you. You taste the hemlock in her saliva, its flavor more intense than anything you have tasted before. Your maid draws your tongue in her own mouth. She suckles on it as a baby might its mother's teeth. And as the poison slowly floods your body, your consciousness begins to fade. Unbidden, your eyes droop shut, your eyelids hard and heavy just like lead. Your fingers have started to feel horribly, unnaturally cold. Your heartbeat meanwhile begins to slow. You succumb bit by bit to your own inevitable end, to the inevitability of the grave, and the worms which wish to make mincemeat out of your slender, lily-like limbs. But no, this is not the past you wish to recall. This is not the past you wish to reclaim. Did you not see any other paths available to you as drifted? Any other lives which might be more satisfactory? Why don't you reach out and see? Quickly now, while you still can. Why don't you see who else you might be in? And what else you might become? And do this in the next episode. Alright, I think we'll divide this basically. Each life is an episode. Yeah. That was fantastic, not gonna lie. That was a good story. That was a really good story. Did I save? I did. Definitely a crazy one, yeah. Definitely something that fits the toxic Vienja. Yeah. I mean, maybe we should or could. I feel like we can assume the one that I find the nicest from those like fragments of pictures. She might be the doctor, right? For again, this might be a completely different life from what the narrator says, so maybe it's not like connected to that life at all. Maybe a completely different one. So basically we are stepping into reincarnation, huh? Interesting. Anywho, I felt like that was a fantastic thing to read. Hope you felt like this was good enough to watch. As always, if you did, consider liking the video. If you're in around, consider subscribing. Always super appreciated if you do. Link to the game in the description, as always, free on itch.io and so on. And for today, that's it. We shall continue tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Bye bye.